So we're in Cardiff, and one of our friends from home was putting on this party and was sponsored by Red Bull, so we were really excited. And we got there and it's like this fucking massive house, like big hotel, like all these rooms and stuff. And out the back was a bouncy castle. And the night before, me and Liam had been watching TV and we'd seen that advert, you know, of like the man when he climbs up the scaffolding and he's like made out to be Superman. And we were like, that looks so fun. And we like got to this party and saw the scaffolding, so I was like, Liam, man, should we climb it? So we started climbing it. And everyone was like, no, what are you doing? Started climbing. And then all I heard was Hannah just go, Liam! Come in now! Get down if you love me! And Liam's like, oh, okay. So he climbs back down, and as he's climbing down, like everyone else like realises what's going on and starts going, Liam, Liam, Liam. And he's looking at Hannah, he's like looking at you guys, like, oh fuck it. And he scurries all the way up to the top of the scaffolding. He gets to the top and he's like real straight, like that big like beaming smile. And I'm sat there and I'm rolling like a cigarette. And I'm chatting to him, like, wow, look at the view, and like, everyone's down there, like, whoa, look at them. And I was like, oh, this is so much fun. Like, looked at him, rolled my cigarette, looked back, and all I could see was his feet as he got dragged in through this window by a person who I thought was Hannah at the time, like, grabbing on. I was like, Liam,
no! So I think one of my favourite days with Liam was Boat Sunday. It was like a really dull Sunday. We were determined to not let the boredom get the better of us, so we went down to the bay looking for adventures and found like a knackered overturned boat and decided to sail it around the bay with whatever we could find. I think we had like dustbin lids and road signs and just any old crap to paddle. And it was one of those like hungover giggle days where everything's just absolutely hilarious. We found like this pontoon in the middle of the bay covered in goose shit, and so of course proceeded to play gladiators, and no one could touch Liam. He was like king of the pooey pontoon.
One day we were in our living room, we found a big bouncy ball, and it was during our stage of going way all the time, and everything getting a bit out of hand. So we found this bouncy ball, we started throwing it around. And that escalated to throwing at each other, and then escalated to someone with a pan on the other side of the room hitting it. And that eventually escalated to all of us putting everyone's plates stacked up on the cabinet, and someone bowling the ball and smashing it as hard as you can, and smashing as many plates as you can. And when everything started smashing, everyone would go, way! And again, that escalated to just throwing bottles around because the whole house was smashed to pieces. There's glass everywhere. And instead of cleaning up, we thought, let's just go out. We'll clean it up later. All the girls in the house had already gone out. We thought, yeah, we'll meet them in town. We can clean it up later. So we go out, meet the girls, don't say anything about it, have a really fun night, and the girls go home early. We decide to stay out a bit later. Come home, and all the girls are at the house like, someone's broken in, someone smashed our house out. And we go, oh yeah, no, that was us. And they were like, what? Oh yeah, no, it was us before we left. We were playing rounders. What, you smashed your own house up? Like, yeah, no, we were playing rounders. And then after that, just wouldn't talk to us, and they didn't talk to us for about a week, and we ended up making a little photo saying sorry. And yeah, that was probably one of my favourite memories of Liam.
A memory I have of Liam is waking up in the morning after a heavy night out in Welsh Club and seeing James and Liam in the living room looking sorry for themselves. And they'd stolen an iPhone from a bar girl in Welsh Club, the bar we go to all the time, and they were trying to debate taking it back, but they were afraid of the bouncer. So me and Hannah spent the morning lecturing them and telling them to grow a pair and take them back, and they did in the end. It's the worst theft I've ever seen.
I remember about 7 years ago, we were all at Wendron Cricket Club, drinking underage as we did, other than Liam. He was working at Summerfield until 9 o'clock. We were all pretty pissed, and Liam turned up about 9:30 on his DT and said, don't worry boys, I'm going to catch up. Came in, pulled a bottle of vodka out of the inside of his coat and nicked it and won. And then went on that night and got pretty smashed. And that about sums him up, I think. Always up for it and fun-loving kind of person.
I've got way too many memories of Liam just to boil it down to just one, but some of my fondest memories, just the simple things, going fishing, down the river over there, going to Hale, going fishing, coming here to skate, playing totally racist football at his house on the PlayStation, just going out, getting drunk, going to festivals, especially the unfortunate incident at Boardmasters Festival, for those who know what I'm talking about. Just all in all, yeah, just absolutely fantastic guy. I felt really privileged to know.
I remember when it was Liam's birthday and we drove to Fort Park from Cardiff, and the night before he insisted it was okay, we can have some drinks and it'll be fine, and no matter Hannah was shouting at us, so we need to go to sleep because we need to drive in the morning. He was like, it'll be fine, no problem. So we stayed up and we drank quite a bit and then we had to drive to Fort Park in the morning. Liam was too hungover to drive, so I was like, okay, I'll drive, it's fine, I've been sick all morning. We're trying to get onto the motorway, driving down, and I was like, I need to be sick, I'm going to be sick. And Liam was like, just be sick out the window, I'm fine, just be sick out the window. So I threw up out the window, and it flew back in the window and landed in Hannah's face. And I've never seen Liam enjoy something so much as me being sick in his girlfriend's face. And that was Liam. It was always it was alcohol vodka, always the worst vodka you could get. Just always drinking it, always constant, just having a laugh, and it was hilarious. He just found it the funniest thing that I threw up in Hannah's face, and that's how I remember it.
So I think my favourite memory of Liam definitely brings out the mischievous side, and it was when all the boys came across to Swansea in my first year being there, and you all came across, we had a pretty mental night out, and got back, and one of my housemates lives opposite and left her room open, and she'd moved out, completely gone. So I opened the door and I see the room completely in a state. There's not one furniture, not one piece of furniture intact. The whole thing's ruined. And the first thing I see when I open that room is Liam's big grin, and that kind of like sums up. But then afterwards, so like we all go to bed and whatnot, and then the next day, I wake up, everyone's left, and I go to get some clothes, like just get dressed, and all my t-shirts have been stolen. And then I get a call from like Liam and Mez telling me they have nicked my t-shirts.
Yeah, so like my main memories was simply to Richmond Road. So he was probably getting with Hannah throughout this time, so he just appeared on the scene. But he did. And he's never really like not there, he just appeared. I don't remember the first time I met him, but I remember one of the first times, like when we were just sitting in the living room and I got really into Public Enemy at the time, and I stuck it on and I thought I was showing Liam something new, and I was like, yeah, check this out. And then Liam just blasted out this Public Enemy, Bring the Noise, all the rap into my face, basically humping me in the face. And just slammed it all the riff perfectly, like word for word, and I never expected from someone, especially with a stutter.
Liam is a truly amazing guy, he's a great friend and he'll truly be missed.
Okay, so Liam knew that I was completely obsessed and crazy, mental in love with seals and penguins. And one day when we first went back to Cornwall, he took me to the seal sanctuary a week, and I had the best time ever because there were all these little baby seals and penguins, and all the seal pups that they'd rescued that year they named after pop stars and rock stars and stuff. And when we left, Liam bought me this little hand puppet, and Liam called it Nicki Minaj, which was completely out of character, and he used to do this funny little flies with the little puppet.
My very first Florida day, we were all drinking in the street, and I had a bag with like eight cans in, and the police showed up, and they were confiscating everyone's beers, and they took the beer out of my hand, they took the rest of my beers, and the policeman put it on the wall behind him, and he was telling me off, and I was kind of like, oh mate, can you back my beer, please? And he was like telling me why I could get my beer, and whilst he was talking to me, I just saw behind him Liam sneak behind the wall, like gently take away all the beers, and like sneak away, whilst the policeman had his back turned and was like having a go at me. And I was like, trying not to laugh. I was like, okay, I won't do it again, and just walked away. And the policeman, like, as I walked away, I turned. I didn't know what to do because the beers had disappeared. He was just taking from me. And then down the road, like, I met back up with Liam, and he like gives me back my beer. I'm like, cheers, mate. It's the sweetest thing you can have done for me. Yes, it's really nice.
He was fun. He was cheerful. He was just an amazing guy to have around. I'm sure he'll be missed by many.
One thing that will always stick in my mind was the day I was all the way at the end of the cliffs at Rinsey going for a swim, and it hit the stand of a motorbike
creeping up on me. I think, how the hell is a motorbike near me right now? I turn around and it's Liam somehow managed to get his motorbike all the way around the side of the cliffs down to the jumps. There's never a dull moment with Liam.
Best of all, my story was we all kind of camped around as gamblers and excited and there's basically like random stuff lying around. It was probably a good couple of days in, there's like beer cans everywhere, there's all sorts of random stuff that you just would not expect people to bring to the festival, but it's all there. And I think I must have gone off somewhere because I came back and there's Liam in this like fold up chair with just stuff stuck to him, like beer cans strapped to his arms, stuff drawn on his face, just looking in a complete state, but just alone, just casually sat there, just like nothing was going on.
One of my favourite memories of Liam and being with him is the night when he broke his foot and jumped off the wall. Found him in quite a lot of pain and I was like, don't worry, I've just done my first aid course, I'll sort it out. Giving him reassurance. Was feeling his foot and I couldn't really touch it because he was in loads of pain. Then I just said, oh, can you walk on it? And he was like, yeah. I was like, oh, you're fine. And we ended up walking all the way back to his flat, which probably made it worse. By the time we got to his flat, he had his arm over my shoulder and I was basically carrying him. Put some like chickpeas or something on his foot from the freezer. It was swelling up quite quickly, but I said if you sleep it off, you'll wake up and you'll be like bright, you know, fine. Obviously it wasn't. It was pretty broken, and he never really let me forget that because when he was stuck in his flat with his foot up, every time I came around, he would say, "Cheers for the first aid, James."
Okay, I think one of my favourite stories for sure is like going back to college, and we all sort of piled, like 5 of us piled in the car and went down to Tremaine Quay with a little kicker ramp and a bike that was wrapped in inner tubes, so we could bomb down the hill and sort of jump off into the river. And Liam's sort of beautiful example of one-upmanship and sort of courage sort of went first. And little do you know, there was like a group of swans just sort of off the kicker ramp, off the quay into the water. So we went to the top of the hill and pedalled sort of top speed, and it sort of approached the ramp with this group of swans at the bottom and sort of like a big boat full of posh people on the side. And like sort of took off, almost cleared the swans, and like a woman on the boat just screamed, "No!" And yeah, cleared the swans. Kind of relative ease, and then landed in the water. It was pretty good. Yeah.
Okay, so we're all out in Falmouth one night, and all getting pretty pissed. Had a pretty good night. Afterwards, we decided to go back to mine, and for some reason, one of us decided maybe it was a good idea to go for a dip. So we all went down to Greed about half three in the morning, all with odd wetsuits on. Like Liam had one of my dad's ones on with a massive hood on it. Mez was in like a shorty, and anyway, we decided to go down for a dip. Liam was first in, I was second in. Mez was kind of just paddling in the shoreline, and so when Liam decided that he was going to go and nick a yacht from right out in the bay and sail it across the channel, so by the time I'd even looked around to see where it was, he was already halfway swam to it. So yeah, he got there first, and I was probably about halfway swam out. He was pretty far out. And by the time I got there, he was already sort of half scrambling up the side of this massive yacht, at which point I looked across and the owners must have heard him, and they were out on the decking looking down on him, and I just looked over and he just was kind of climbing and looked up and saw this couple looking down on him, and kind of asked him what he was doing, and that's when he just asked him for if they had a beer, and everything kind of just faded up from there, and we ended up just swimming back.
My favourite memory of Liam was probably when we went to France back in 2009, and we went to the supermarket on these like Mary Poppins style bikes that we had, and they all had little baskets on the front. And Liam went and just bought a big bottle of vodka. He was super happy with it, and full basket full of shopping. On the way back, there was these speed bumps. Liam being Liam, rode up to the speed bump, full speed, just took off, landed, shopping everywhere, and bottle of vodka, well, in pieces. I wouldn't do that again, that's the case we would have done.
Alright, the story. I'll tell you a story. I remember this one time we were all at Liam's house having a bit of a house party. You know, things got pretty hectic, as they always do. Anyway, the night was quieting down, everybody's making their way home, you know, chucking the beers in the bin, eating the last of the Pringles. And me and Mez and Tom are settling in for a quiet night at the Whitaker household. You know, we'll go to bed, sofas, standard. Liam decides to turn all the lights off in the house, play Pantera, Megadeth, Metallica, probably all at once, as loud as he possibly can, and decide to chase us around the house with a BB gun, shooting us. We were actually scared for our lives. I remember one point, me, Mez and Tom all hiding in the cupboard and Liam just opening it and peppering us with BB.
So I remember Florida Day last year. It was the end of that good Florida Day, everyone's had fun. End of the night, I'd lost like my wallet and phone, so we thought we'd transit down at the police station, see if anything had been handed in. And me and Mez were there, and like no one was there, nothing was on. We were ringing all the bells, but nothing happened. We waited for a little bit to see if anyone would turn up, and suddenly a riot van pulls in, and the backs of the doors open, and there's like like 6 police officers wrestling one guy. Me and Mez are sat on the wall, bit. Is that Liam? And they put him out, like, go home, Liam. And I was that fucking tune's my name.
Cheers, bud. One of my favourite memories of Liam is, well, just spending a lot of time with the boys down at Rinsey, and barbecues and going jumping and swimming and surfing. And I remember Liam always would outdo us at jumping, or whatever we did really. He'd always push it to the next level. And this one time he did a front flip off the highest jump at Rinsey, and it didn't go too well, to be honest. He over-rotated and probably did one of the world's highest belly flops. And yeah.
It's not like one specific memory, it's just like when I was sort of 15, I just used to go surfing with him all the time. Like whenever I was up for surfing, he'd be up for it, like always stoked to be around him and like always excited for it. I think me and him are like, well, constantly in debt to Angie and my mum for the amount of petrol he must have spent on us driving us around. But yeah, it's just a memory of good times, I guess.
Never forget the time when Liam came down here and he got his first ever stand-up barrel. Just the like look on his face with like pure excitement and like stoke about what he'd done. It was awesome to see.